everyone. It's Sean Venable. Listen, I know we typically do the Wealth Roundtable on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know typically have my sidekick here with me, Dwayne. But today for Juneteenth, we are talking all things freedom. And I am like super, super excited because I have an amazing lady here with me, Dr. Coach Anthea Aikins. Tell everybody hello.
Hi, everyone. Hello, Coach Sean. It's so good to see you. Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Thank you. So listen, in full disclosure, right? And let me make sure that I tag you, Coach Anthea, right now. I'm trying to work like my phone and work my magic and everything. So we were just going to have a conversation, and the conversation was actually going to prepare us for when everyone was going to join the Wealth Roundtable and when we were going to start. But of
Mhm.
course, I always like the element of surprise, and I'm like, we can't wait on this. Let's like do this live and in charge right now. I got your
Yeah,
tag. Listen, share out, share out, share out, everyone. This is like the raw live edition. But I'm like, we can't wait. We need to talk today.
yeah.
Dwayne, we're live on the Wealth Roundtable, and I have Coach Anthea here. Like we are live. But Coach Anthea, okay, we have this tradition on our Wealth Roundtable. We love to ask people who you are, what you do, and how you add value. You joining me, Dwayne? You might as well come on in. Okay, let me see if
Come
I can.
on in.
Okay, he's coming into the frame.
Shaking the world up.
Shaking the world up. Okay. So who you are, what you do, and how you add value.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. So that's a very good question. Who am I? What do I do? And how do I add value? So I always say the question is very easy for you to merge who you are with what you do. But as far as who I am, I'm a daughter, I'm an auntie, I'm a best friend, and I'm passionate about the things of God as well as education and science. So what do I do? That's a loaded question. I wear several hats. I'm an assistant professor. No, I'm an associate professor, tenured associate professor. I'm a research scientist, so I'm a microbiologist. I am a college planner. I am a STEM academic coach. I'm a Christian life coach. I'm a transformational speaker. And I have this business, Aikins LLC, with an ultimate goal to demystify higher ed and also to inspire spiritually. So I really wear several hats, but my passion really is for college students is to demystify higher ed, just pretty much help students not waste their time, their money, give them the GPS that they need to just get on college campus and to make it happen. And also, I really do like just stimulating some kind of scientific curiosity in the minds of students. It's such a nice feeling when they get to see a black scientist, like wow, or a
Yeah,
black professor. So I do all that
you do all. That's awesome.
in a nutshell. Yes.
And listen, Pastor Rhoda Ragland, I see you. Good evening to you, lovely lady. I love you so much. So listen, Coach Anthea, Dr. Anthea, you are just so amazing. I would love for you to give your rendition of how we met. And then we're gonna take a little discovery of freedom, freedom to live your dreams, to live out loud, because you're such an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank you. So how did we meet? So a while back, I had this desire of, making sure that I go through a certification process to be a certified Christian coach. And I was like, how do you even do that? So through research, I found out about going through his coach training to be certified. So you go online and you pick an instructor, and I randomly pick Coach Sean. So now in the classroom, as we were virtual, as we were in the class, it was almost as though I've met her before. And everything that we talked about our vision, our passion for God, and even in the coaching process, it's just this, I like to call it divine connection when you meet somebody and you feel like I've known you all my life. And I literally just met her virtually. And since then, it's just been an awesome experience. I just feel like I'm connected to you somehow, and with time it's unfolding. So that's how we met, that I remember.
I love it. And I think what I was so fascinated about in this space, and I actually shared this with Dwayne as well, there were so many synergies and similarities. So you I have a very strong background from a STEM standpoint.
Mhm.
Pharmaceuticals. That is my background. You have passion around real estate and building wealth through that
Mhm.
as well. And then from a coaching standpoint, you're on that pathway and I am there. And I was like, this woman is so amazing. But as we talk about freedom and living your dreams out loud, and Dwayne, get ready to ask your questions. Like, this woman is like the bomb, dot diggity com. Um, how did you navigate? I mean, have you always just been so acclimated and successful? Did you find yourself doubting along the way? And where did you get the freedom to just truly live and be all that God has called you to live and be?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. So I'm originally from Ghana. So there are more levels to me, right? So I'm originally from Ghana. I came to the United States when I was 12. Lived in the Bronx, New York. Went to eighth grade there. So I've been in the States since eighth grade. And I remember in my eighth grade class, my English teacher, I can't remember her name, but when I told her my English name, she asked me of my African name. So
Hmm.
that was new to me. I said, So I said, oh, Nanekwa. And she insisted on calling me Nanekwa. And, again, 12 years old, I'm still forming, I'm still getting to know myself. And when you migrate from Africa or Ghana, you don't really understand the culture here, right? You are coming from a place where you are the majority. You go around all business, everybody look like you, and then you come here and you're a minority. So that stood out that she took interest in me and she insisted on calling me instead of Anthea, she would call me Nanekwa, and she tried to pronounce it. And then in high school, so that stood out to me, and I began thinking about who I am and how far I can go. And obviously, when you're a foreigner here, your parents will bring you up here, education, education, education. But there are a lot of things that they don't know to help you navigate. And all they know is you going to school, we going to work, you going to school, you're going to graduate, and you going to college, and you're going to do ABCD. But that emotional support along the way, it's not like they withheld it. It was just they just had to just do whatever they had to do. So in maneuvering, what has helped me along the way, so going through high school, then in college, I would say what helped me to maneuver my way through the system is mentors, which is exactly why I do what I do. Mentors, connecting to people that are where you're going, having an ear to hear people when they share their experiences with you, because you don't have to repeat the same mistakes. So how did I get here? I got here through mentorship. Yes, the foundation that I had coming here as a young girl, which is education. My parents are very strict. I also knew that along the line, as I was maturing, that emotional support is important. Yes, my parents had to go to work, and they're not there to come to these activities, but connecting to mentors. And it started with my English teacher, who actually became like a mentor to me in middle school. And then high school, my English teacher, my microbiology teacher took interest in me as well. And she was always there advising me. And then I connected to one of the teachers in the Christian club. So I've always, somehow, God has placed people my way to give me that emotional support, as well as be that example, or to show me what I need to do the next step. And it happened again in college. I wasn't too sure I wanted to be a nursing major. Then I realized I wanted to take more math, maybe medicine, maybe biology. First year in college, walking down the hallway, run into another faculty member who just would not let me go and insisted that I apply to a particular research program, and became my mentor and stuck with me even when I went to grad school. She was checking up on me up until I got my PhD, and I sent her a card saying that we did it. So again, I would say it's not me, it's mentorship. I push that a lot, and divine connection, being attentive to the people that God brings your way. And I tell students all the time, if you come to college just to walk across the stage, oh, you will walk across the stage. But then what happens after a week or two? that you've been home sleeping. Your parents are looking at you like, what are you going to do next? And you're like, I don't know. Now you're reaching out to your professor who might not remember you anymore because now I have a long list of students I have to deal with, right? So I would say, how did I get here? Mentorship, connected, divine connection. I cannot stress it enough. And by the grace of God, really.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Listen, if you're just joining, I saw my family. I'm calling her my family. April pop in. Hello, I love you too. We're here with Dr. Anthea, and today on Juneteenth, we're talking all things freedom, the journey of becoming and evolving. And you said something powerful, which is mentorship. I'm going to actually lean into Dwayne. Um, Father's Day was yesterday, and we had a very special Father's Day with our children, and we talked about our journeys, like our life and the evolution of our life, and parts of our story that we didn't know. And as Dwayne was sharing, just parts of life with his children, I was like, there's so much mentorship inside of you. Sometimes we become what we needed in the process. So I don't know if you want to lean into that a little bit because it was kind of deep. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. I don't. Uh, I did. I hear that word a lot. I heard that word a lot in the conversation where you were talking about the things that helped you along the way and make you successful. Mentorship and leadership, a little guidance and nudges along the way. And I've been through enough, that I feel like sometimes when I see younger guys or younger versions of myself, and I see them going through different things, or they have the potential to be more than what they are displaying. I will nudge, I will say, um, things to them to kind of guide them, or push them, or tell them to stop limiting themselves, or maybe just give some guidance. But Sean has been pushing me to try to get into some type of mentorship, or for younger guys, and I don't know if I have the patience, but it is something that I do, and because I have been there, and
Yeah.
sometimes along my way, I've had people who encourage me to do stupid stuff. I mean, that's just a blunt way of putting that, but I did have a few people along my way who challenged me on things that I shouldn't have been doing, or my ways. And I actually spoke to one of them yesterday, and I'll shout his name out. That's Jermaine Johnson. I met him back when I was 19. And at 19, I really, it's a little different, and my thought process was not where it is now. But, I bumped into Jermaine, and he challenged me on a lot of things and a lot of my ways and a lot of the things that I said and I did, not in a way that he wanted to, not not putting me down, but just saying, hey, that ain't right. It ain't right. Just basically saying, you need to try something different. You can't always just address stuff head on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go a different way. And I I appreciated it, and I took it with me, and then I kind of passed it on to other people. But um, it's a um, it's a good space, and I think Sean is trying to nudge me into something that I don't know if I have the patience or the time, but I won't. If it comes to me, I definitely won't push it away.
Yeah, we need mentors. We really need mentors, especially we need our young generation to see, Black scientists, Black people who are into business. The scripture talks about that the enemy is busy, right? To just come and steal and to destroy. And on college campus, you see these students, they are there to learn, but there are so many things pulling on them, right? And they don't know, they don't have the language to ask for what they need, right? And so I feel like sometimes when wherever God allows us to get to, it is our responsibility to somehow just reach back. And obviously you have to have that, you have to be in that space and the season to be able to do that. But we ultimately, I believe exactly what was said earlier, we become what we need, right? What we needed. And now being in academia, being a scientist, I mean, when I was young, I'm like, a scientist, that's really huge. Like, really? Who actually becomes a scientist? But it's doable. And it's not, there is no secret. It's all based on the fact that it's mentorship. The information is there. Our students just need a little guidance. I just need to see somebody who's a mentor. I just need to see somebody who's doing real estate that I can connect to, that is this thing really real. We have students out there, bright minds, and the enemy is coming at them.
Yes.
So many suggestions, and all they need, and even in the classroom, I realized that a student will listen to me when they feel like I care. All they need to feel is that I care. Oh, so how was your day? How did it go? How was the party? Oh, okay. So how does that connect to microbiology? And you just be amazed. So there's so many talents out there. I cannot stress mentorship enough, because in the real world, we all know that, yes, relationships are important. It would take a relationship for you to have a door open for you, but it's going to take your talent and your knowledge to keep you there, right? But if you are in a silo and you graduate, you don't have a mentor. And I have this thing that I push my students to consider. Not only do you cross the stage with three professors in your corner that when they see your name, they would want to write a letter for you, you also need a sponsor, somebody who knows you so well that if I get an internship in my inbox, I would say, "Oh yeah, that's right. This fits Mike, or this fits, you know." So, and you have to work on these relationships, and it really start with mentoring. So I charge anybody listening to me, you have a wealth of knowledge to offer. Our students just need some kind of GPS. The enemy is so busy. When I when a student comes to my office and break down and tell me the things that they are enduring, and the parents have just dropped them on campus, some don't even want to tell you what happened to them last night. They don't want to tell their parents, but they're carrying this. A mentor will say, okay, I understand this happened. It's doable. It's not the end of the world. Let's do it this way. Our young people need us. So yes, I'm with Sean nudging you.
Yes. Listen, I have it. So I have my sister Nylesia's in the room, my sister Lynette Jackson, shout out. Um, I'm going to show you a couple of things. So one of the comments that came through, yes, it's very vital for our young boys. They
Yes.
need this communication before they go into a system process for them. Most young people are broken and they need a voice. Excellent. Divine connections. That's Mama D. Shout out to her. So let me ask you this, because you hit on something. I'm like, oh my gosh, she is like all in my brain, all in my sha-na-na. And it's because we cross a lot of similar paths.
Mhm.
I heard you say something, and I was actually going to lean into the question. You mentioned mentors.
Mhm.
I know that you are a certified Christian life coach. You
Mhm.
mentioned sponsors. So, for the
Mhm.
individuals that are listening, that will go back and listen to the replay, that will tag, like, and share this out to someone on Juneteenth, we're
Mhm.
talking all things freedom.
Mhm.
What to you are the
Mhm.
differences between a mentor, a coach, and a sponsor? How do they look different, and how do they have similarities?
So, and I'm writing this down so I make sure I stay on point and I'm succinct with my answer. So I would first say mentor. A mentor is having somebody who has been where you're going. So even right now, even as a professor, I have a mentor, right? I have mentors. So my mentor will either be a full professor, that's the next step, or somebody who is a dean, or so. A mentor is having somebody who is the next step ahead of you. That's one. One of the things that sometimes we think about it erroneously. We think that you only just need one mentor. One mentor cannot fulfill all your needs because we're complex, right? As I mentioned, going through school, I needed somebody to support me emotionally, somebody to direct me when it comes to education, and even in life, right? You might connect with somebody socially and then somebody spiritually. But either way, if they wear the hat of a mentor, they are where you desire to be, whether spiritually, professionally, socially. Some of us are introverts. We need to get out a little bit to connect. If it gets too much, come home and recharge and get out again. So that is a mentor. A coach is somebody who's going to get you from point A to point B, right? And so the role can overlap a little bit, but I like to think of a mentor. Mentor also has some kind of like-minded relationship, right? A coach is getting you from point A to point B, even if that emotional connection is not there 100%. They're on a mission. You can hire a coach, you can tell them your vision, and they will get you from point A to point B, whether you like it or not. You hire them for this. But a mentor, it's you develop that relationship. I always say that some things cannot be forced. Some things it needs to happen organically. And all my mentors, I never had to ask them, can you be my mentor? If you are attentive, I tell students all the time, pay attention to the professor who cares. All professors want to connect to a student who cares. All you got to do is act excited. and I'm hooked. All you got to do is right after class, ask me, Dr. Aikins, can I stop by your lab to actually do a little bit of research on this microbiology, this microorganism that yes, please do. So you connect organically to mentors because they see, I don't want to say they see themselves in you, but they tend to see the potential in you, and it becomes a commitment that they are on board with. Now, if you have to ask, can you be my mentor? That's fine. But I always believe that when things form organically, it stays that way. To have a sponsor these relationships, you have to be intentional in nurturing, especially, again, my target group has always been with students, undergrads. A sponsor is having somebody in your corner. It transcends a mentor and probably transcends a coach, right? You can merge all that in. But somebody that you know so well, that they know you shared your goals with, they know your weakness, they know your passion. You have given them permission to speak into your life, that when you go on left, they say, no, you're not doing it right. But they know you so well that now when I get internships in my inbox, I can now say, oh yeah, this will fit this person. Let me forward it to this. As a matter of fact, I have their cell phone number. Let me just text them. You're not paying me, but I have become your sponsor organically, because now I know you so well. I've connected to you. I've bought into your vision. I can see your potential. I am excited that you become the next scientist, or you become the next physician. You become the next Black woman who is doing this, who is an astronaut. I've bought into that because your win is my win. So a sponsor goes beyond you graduated, I'm connected to you. You maintain that relationship, that you stay on their mind, that when something comes, they think about you first. So some of these three things, a coach, mentor, it can overlap, but it depends on you, the recipient, how you work it. But at the end of the day, you want to stay on someone's mind. And we all know that when these things are forced, you become a pest, right? You become a bother. But if it forms organically and you form these relationships through mentoring, you can meet a sponsor. Through mentoring, somebody can say, oh yeah, I know this person who is great at flipping houses. Because now you stayed on their mind. Those three things are critical. At the very least, mentor and a sponsor. Yeah.
Listen, oh my God, I love that. And I hope you can see it. My sister Nalija, she is my modern day Maya Angelou. And she's putting all of your definitions and these jewels on screen. She's just so amazing. So for me, like as you talk, I was thinking about my life, and Dwayne, I'm going to ask you a question that is going to bounce off of what Coach Anthea said, because she's pushing you and nudging you too. For me, when I think about it, just simply put, like a mentor, as you said, is someone that's traveled that road, and they may tell me how to navigate through those spaces. They've been there before. They have experience that helps accelerate my growth, my learning curve. My coach is going to pull out of me what's already in me. So the coach is the one that's asking the questions, and then you say something brilliant, and then it was in you the entire time, and you're like, wow. And that sponsor is someone that, quite frankly, serves in capacities of those roles, but when you're not in the room, they will advocate on your behalf. And never forget this. Shout out to my GSK folks that they are up here. And I'm going to go deep as we talk about freedom. I'm going to go deep about this. When I was a young girl before I met Dwayne, and we have a story of how we met, my grandmother, which I feel like served in all of those capacities for me, she prophesied over me and she told me, one day you're going to work at this particular company. And when you do, God is going to take you all the way to the top. Now, she was talking to someone that was still working out her own insecurity, still working out and navigating who she was, a very young and impressionable girl. And when she told me that, I had plans for my life, but God had other plans for me, for Dwayne, for our connection, how we met. And I was just on a whole different pathway. And I decided that I was going to go into kind of the beauty world. I was going to do hair. I was going to have my own business. This is what I was going to do. Didn't know if I was going to get married, and me and Shadow are hanging out. And but God saw fit, and I ended up going into the company. And I started as an operator on the shop floor. Dwayne and I were very young. We got married. I didn't have the luxury to go to school right then. I was a young mother, a young wife. We were trying to make it on ends meet, and we had to work on second shift on the lowest level of that floor. And God always, always placed mentors in my life. He always placed coaches in my life that would stretch me. And he always placed sponsors in my life that spoke up for me when I wasn't in the room. And long story short, I had an opportunity to go across the bridge from the floor now to a job where they were taking individuals that knew the equipment with individuals that were fresh out of university, and we were a new product introduction. See, it's all STEM, right? So we got there, I was like, okay, this is my chance. I'm going to go now back to school. I'm going to be able to get my degree. It's going to be okay. And what happened? Dwayne, pray for DJ. You pray for DJ. Yeah. And yeah.
And my prayers were answered.
His prayers were answered, but it was a 99.9% chance that DJ wasn't supposed to be here. That Sean's plans for going to school. And I was thinking, like, okay, I called my grandmother, Mapur, the late overseer. Okay, this is not the top. But my gift made room for me. And I've always had a passion, a strong suit for it. Writing, articulation, putting things together, solving problems. So long story short, I was able to start going back to school, but I was able to leverage my gifts and became a process engineer and started working up. I was like, okay, maybe this is time. And then I went into regulatory compliance, and I always had advocates, sponsors, mentors, coaches that pushed me. But one day, God removed everybody that was my crutch that I was dependent on. And I learned to lean and depend on him. And I remember coming home and talking to Dwayne, and I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something else. I'm blessed. God is, and he was my mentor. I remember going up for a job. I was like, I don't meet all the qualifications. What did you tell me?
You just go for it. You do. You have everything you need, and you just need to go for it. Stop thinking about it. You have all the qualifications that.
Tell yourself that now. Can you say that?
I am.
See?
Because she was like, I don't know how she didn't really see it, but I could see it. I could see it, and I knew that she would get it. Hands down. People loved her. She was already. She worked hard. I mean, she had everything she needed.
So I'm telling him that. But sometimes people see more in you than you see in you. So, long story short, and I never forget this, there was an opportunity to do something, and in the scientific realm, right? We have those academic skills, and then we have the soft skills. And in
Mhm.
the area that I worked in, there was an opportunity to do something in communications. I'm like, what is that?
Mhm.
What does that have to do with getting the product out the door?
Mhm.
God says your gift will make room for you. It truly, 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 it truly is important. And not least I hear it. People see more in you than you see in you sometimes.
Mhm.
So I was able to navigate my career, but something happened. I was in a room, and all of the people that I had previously worked for were in the room, and they didn't know I was around the table.
Mm.
And there was an HR rep in it because typically I wouldn't be in the room, but it was prophesied that I would be in the room. And so the HR lady, she was talking and she said, there's this opportunity that we have and we can bring somebody into this role. Um, if that's the case and you have anybody that's interested. And a former boss of mine that was in the room, they didn't know I was in there. They were like, have you considered Sean?
We'll go
And
with
she just kind of smiled, right? And then I realized they didn't know I was in the room. And so another one was like, well, wait a minute, no, because there's another opportunity. And we actually want to consider Sean for this. And then there's someone else said, well, no, there's another opportunity. And
Mhm.
we want to consider Sean for this. And then all of a sudden, the head of that organization, which is a very strong mentor of mine to this day, looked at me and said, it must feel good to be in the room when people are saying things about you, but
Yeah.
you get to choose which opportunity you want because guess what? You're here.
Mhm.
And they were baffled because I was so quiet, they didn't know I was in the room. And
Mhm.
so when I think about strong sponsorship, those mentors and those coaches that speak those words of life, and now you have those advocates in the room and those sponsors in the room that can advocate for you, it showed me real life what that means.
Yeah.
So here's my question for you.
Mhm.
When you're not in the room, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want to be known for?
Oh, when I'm not in the, what do I want to be known for? I want to be known for my passion, right? For excellence. I want to be known for my passion to see greatness in people. I want to be known for that professor who was relatable, but at the same time to raise the standard for me to meet, right? I want to be known for my passion for God and at the same time to my readiness to administer grace. Because sometimes we forget that we have our flaws, but at the same time too, we serve a gracious God. So as you work with people, I want to be remembered for that cool professor who looks like a student, but at the same time too could be strict, but will still raise the stand. I want to be remembered to be that cool scientist who is cool, can dive into science, but at the same time too is relatable and that person that God allowed whoever is thinking about me to meet to be able to be that person that pulls greatness out of people. That's what I want to be known for.
I
That was
love
a lot.
that was good. That was so good. Dwayne, I'm gonna allow you to have closing words
No,
or
no, you're doing a good
questions.
job. No, keep going.
Like you're soaking this in.
I'm just soaking it in. I'm just sitting back and observing and soaking in all this knowledge. I learned so much in the session, like the difference between sponsors, mentors, advocates, and coaches. Like, I mean, we just want to know. I mean, we need to know those things, right? We need
Yeah.
to recognize who is talking to us, who is speaking to us, who is rooting for us, who is pulling for us, who is pushing us, and what are they pushing us for? Like, what are we lacking in? Where are we falling? Where are we doubting ourselves that we could actually be excelling in those areas? So who is really helping us and who is pulling us down? So um, recognizing that is definitely a good thing. And like you said, you spoke really well on those differences, and then I think I think that helped me. I don't know about everybody else, but that helped me. So I can only speak about me. So um, I think when you were talking about it, I was just thinking about the things in my life, the times in my life, and the periods in my life, and who fit those categories for me, and who did those things for me, and can I do that for somebody else, for someone else, and at what levels? You know what I mean? So um, how does it really apply? And my grandma, again, like Sean's grandma, she was all of those things for me. You know, she pushed me. She told me I was good and good enough and better. And, you know, she told me all of those things when I needed to hear them, and also put me in my place when I needed to be put in my place. You know, I've said some things and she defended me. And then when I got in the corner, she was like, you were wrong. This is where you were wrong. And you were okay until you got to this point, and you need to fix that, you know. So I think we all need that structure in our life. And I don't know. I'm just trying to think about what we can do to get there. So I think everybody has something to offer to somebody else at some level. You know, you
Yeah.
may not be perfect. You may not be. I may not be have a PhD in science, math, or English or
But
any
I
of
know
that.
somebody who does.
I know somebody that does, and recognize the places when it's not your place, and recommend them to somebody else and push them on to the next level. Don't be don't be so, I don't want to say big headed, but I do want to say big headed. So don't be so big headed that you're holding them back because you don't want to let them go. And I think I've seen that happen too. It's happened to me where people have kept me in a box because they didn't want to really push me to that next level because they were afraid that I was going to supersede what they were doing and where they were in life. So just gave me a lot to think about. I think all of this was good, really good for me. And keep on doing what you're doing. We need you. We need about 10 more of you. So the more
A
of you that you make,
million.
um, the better off we'll be. And I'll continue to do the same and push for my level and push above. And when I hit that limit, that ceiling, I'll just hold them up a little higher until they can reach for somebody else.
Yeah, that's good. I want to say I'm also going to be taking notes in real estate lessons from you too as well. But if I were to leave some practical thoughts to our young people, anybody who's listening to this, who might pass this on to their college student, these relationships that we said just don't happen, right? I need our young people to know they have to work at this. So, what does it look like to a first year student? How do they graduate with a mentor, a sponsor, and a coach? These are the practical things. Show up at office hours.
Yes.
If you don't have a question, just say hi, Dr. Aikins. I am so and so. I sit right here in the second row. I'm very excited to be in your class. You show that you care. Follow up. If you have any questions about your exam, follow up. And even if you don't, go back office hours to rehearse. This is the big picture of chapter 2. Did I get it right? It shows that you care. So these are practical things I want to leave in the thoughts of any young person who will come across this video. Use the office hours when you have virtual classes and you don't have to turn on your camera. Be that student that turns on their camera.
Yes.
Because after the semester ends and all I see is just your name, you can't ask me for a letter of recommendation because I don't know you. Right. So be that student who always stands out in a good way, because one way or the other, you're going to stand out. You're either going to stand out in my mind as the rude student. I might not tell you, but I've made a note. Or the professional student who always says good morning or responds to my greetings, or the one who stops by the office during office hours. So this is how you nurture that relationship. And then pay attention to faculty members who pay attention to you. When you miss a class and they say, oh, we missed you in class today, what happened? This might be a person who might want to get to know me, because at the end of the day, you want your professors to know you and your career goals, because you can't get anywhere without a letter of recommendation. As a matter of fact, a strong letter of recommendation. So that's the practical things I want to leave any young person in school. Don't just go get a grade and walk across the stage. If they're going to hire you, they can see your transcript. but they need a letter that talks about your relationship, your professionalism. So make good use of office hours. Speak to professors. Say hello, and when they greet you, respond. Show that you care. That's how you nurture those relationships. Because if you come to me and you say, can you be my mentor? I would say, well, let me get to know you first. And if I realize you really don't care, that's one less thing on my plate to do. Make it hard for me to say no, because there are 200 plus students who might need me. So nurture those relationships, the practical things. Speak, go to office hours, say hello, say hi. When you are in class, pay attention, put your phones away. Just act like you care, even if you don't care, because you're going to need us one way or the other.
Coach Anthea, Dr. Anthea, I love you. Um, I'm going to say this and we're going to close out. I love not only, and if Bishop Ward was listening, he always preaches this, you gave us the what, but you also gave us the how.
Yeah.
You inspired me, but you also empowered me. And I
Mhm.
don't know if you realize it, but the nuggets that you're giving college students
Mhm.
are also what you can give people that are in the workspace.
Mhm.
Be the person that stands out.
Mhm.
If everyone else is going against the grain, be the person that's going to sit in the front of the auditorium. Be the person that's going to walk by and greet colleagues. Don't be the person that's intimidated by the boss. Have the conversation and seek out individuals who exhibit characteristics that you admire.
Mhm.
Go up and ask. And I don't know if you realize, even in business, when Dwayne and I started in real estate, absolutely, Narlesia, there were so many people that we just sought their advice. We sat at the feet of greatness and we put ourselves out there. And as a result, God did the rest. So,
Mhm.
what you said is so, oh God, it's so good. Thank you for being a level of exceptionalism, a level of excellence, one who has come from a completely different space, and God has brought you here, and
Mhm.
you are completely dominating. And you're not only doing it in a godly way, but you're bringing other people along. And when you talked about you wearing so many hats, like I just don't even know what to say about that. So I want you to close us out with telling us a little bit more about your LLC and what you do in that regard. And if anyone wants to get in contact with you, how they can do so.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. So, Aikins LLC is on a mission to demystify higher ed, which is college prep, grad school, PhD, want to go to medical school. Our goal is to demystify the whole process, right? And then the other branch of Aikins LLC is our inspirational services. So, speaking engagements, I also have inspirational journals. So, I have even a notebook. So I have sermon preparation notebook. I have Anchored in Christ affirmation journal. So again, the whole foundation of this is I don't want our young people to be lost, right? I'm on college campus. I'm there as a microbiologist. If I can't preach to them in the classroom, I'm going to give them a book. You come into my office and I realize you're Christian, but you forgetting who you are in Christ. Okay, here's a journal. So our inspirational services, we do that via either the books, journals, T-shirts. We have different products at Pearl Line that all centered around who we are in God, the goodness of God, and the grace of God. And I cannot stress grace enough on a college campus. It doesn't cover the sins of people. Grace gives that God gives us grace and space to grow. And I think our young people need that so badly these days, because the thought of in their mind thinking about doing something unforgivable is really not unforgivable. It's within them and how they process it. But knowing in God they are forgiven, it pushes them. So that services serves in that regards with our product and my speaking engagement. Um, So yeah, those are the two things: academic support services, inspirational services, with a mission to demystify higher ed and to inspire spiritually. Where can you find me? A Aikins LLC on Facebook. My website is www.aikins.com. So www.aakins.com. And my services are there: college services, grad school, demystifying higher ed is all there.
I love it. Listen, I plugged this comment in. I'm not even in school, but she makes you want to have a Dr. Aiken encounter.
I love it.
We love you so much. I'm so proud of you. We are definitely going to remain connected because there's so much work to do. And as you said earlier, God put our paths together for a reason. And as it continues to unfold, it gets sweeter and sweeter. So I just want to thank you for what we were actually supposed to be doing, is just kind of prepping to talk about when we were going to record and when we were going to come on live. And it just turned into a whole situation. I was like, let's just do it now. Like
Yeah.
freedom. It's freedom.
And I'm glad I jumped the session. So
He did. He did.
Listen, I don't know who you were talking to out there, but you were definitely talking to me. So
Well, thank you both for having me. I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me on here. I had a good time.
Thank you. We love you so much. And our tradition is we're gonna wave out.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.